What we can't do though, is we can't settle for unclarity or a lack of clarity. That is the definition to me of why we burn out, why we get depressed, why we're anxious, is we don't have clarity.
Hey, welcome to Wealth Beyond Riches. Thanks so much for stopping by. Hey, if you haven't taken a moment to hit subscribe so you don't miss any more videos, go ahead and do that right now. This is the part of our channel where we go a layer deeper in terms of work and money and helping people reclaim their relationship with both of those. Today on the podcast, we have a great friend of mine, Brad Lomenick. He is a connector. He is a strategic advisor to CEOs and companies who are trying to grow and scale. He is an influential leader of leaders for people around the world. And you're going to get so much out of this conversation. We talk about how to live with calling and purpose. We talk about how to cultivate what it is that you are passionate about. We talk about being a connector over being a networker. There's a difference between the two, and you're not going to want to miss it. I am so thankful for Brad to be here because he's actually one of the reasons the show exists. And if you look at the past episodes, and I'll mention this, there's probably like half of the episodes, if you've been listening for a while, he has introduced me to that person, or that person knows Brad. He's a people of people who is here to serve, and he's a giver. We'll talk about having a generosity mindset over an abundance mindset. So I hope this is helpful for you. Again, I hope your life gets 1% better as a result. This is going to be good. I know when we were talking last, one of the things that's big for you is the power of connection. And I was just listening to your H3 Leadership podcast, the June episode, which I need to send to the team because that was awesome. You did like a top 10 list for leaders, but then you spent some time talking about being a connector instead of a networker. Talk about that for a second, because I thought that was awesome.
Yes, connector versus networker. And what I would say is, okay, don't get caught up on the words. You know, I'm not trying to throw networkers under the bus, or it's not that I dislike the term networker.
Yeah.
Because the idea of a network is at least a neutral, and I think a positive, but we know the person I'm talking about, when I describe a networker, that we try to avoid. Any room you've ever been in, anytime you've tried to remove yourself from someone, or you think when you get that number comes up on your phone, oh my gosh, I got to talk to them. Compared to a connector who you want to talk to, you actually, when you walk in the room and you see they're there, you're excited. You're waiting to have a chance to get to connect with them and have a conversation. And, you know, a lot of this from a practical side, I would say connectors are generous. They're abundance minded. Networkers are much more transactional. They're scarcity minded. They think if I don't win, I get one shot to get Tim to say yes to something, right? Otherwise I'm out and I'm going to move on. A connector is in it for the long haul with you. You know, so and it's not that connectors don't ask for the sale, or they don't create a transaction at certain points. But that's not their goal. Their goal is to say, I'm here to add value to you. You know, the premise of a connect, like I said, a connector, if you're in a room and they're in that room, you know they're there, but they're not trying to make sure everybody knows they're there. Yeah. A networker walks in and it's got that neon flashing sign going, everybody please look at me. Everybody please look at me. Yeah. Everybody please look at me. Networkers are also those people that they come up and find you and then they talk to you, but they're not really talking to you. They're talking through you.
Yeah.
You know, they're looking just around you.
Yeah.
Because
over the shoulder.
They're looking for the power source.
Yeah.
And so, you know, the connector is always going to add value to people, period. Even if it's people who can't do anything for them.
Yeah.
A networker is only looking for the person that will now help them advance their agenda. So we could go on, but I mean, there is a lot of, I would say, wisdom and just clarity in terms of, well, how do we do this well? And I didn't even know there was a difference. I thought they were both the same. I mean, I thought I'm going to a networking event. And again, don't get caught up on that's a bad thing to go to. But when you show up to that networking event, be the person there who is truly there to connect.
Mm.
And I promise you, you'll walk away from that with more influence, more credibility. Now, here's the thing, Tim, you know this, like being in the sales world, financial services world.
Yeah.
What happens so many times is when we get around a bunch of other networkers who are transactional, we start playing by their rules.
Yeah.
And that is a real challenge for so many of us as leaders.
Yeah.
Because we're like, wait, they're acting like they're a connector. And they're acting like they're there to add value to that person. But I know, I've seen them do this before. My job is to still play the long.
Yeah.
And, I think more than ever in the history of the world, perhaps.
Yeah.
There's probably more of a need for you to play the long game because what I think the long game says is it says trust. It says, I have currency with you. I'm not willing to be short-sighted because I need the sale in order to now put you in a place where you really are just a means to an end. And the other thing that's hard is when you have a lot of people that you're trying to steward, you're trying to create your community and build friendship among a group.
Yeah.
The more you add into the circle, the more you become a networker, the more you actually have to be transactional sometimes. So you got to fight against that when you have a larger, let's call it client base or a community of people you're trying to really like add value to. But man, to me, it comes back to add value. If you add value to people, you win as a connector.
What do you think are those benefits for the connector down the road? What's the impact? What's the influence look like for them?
Well, it's definitely that you have currency. Well, let's call it equity. So you can trade on your equity. Your asset you're now trading on is trust. It's currency. It's let's say it's you putting withdrawals in the account. I'm sorry, you putting deposits in the account.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Gary V's, jab, 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 right hook. Kind of the same idea. Like add value, add value, add value, add value. Maybe at some point you do bring the right hook and you ask for something.
Yeah.
But so many times we go in and we just right hook somebody from the beginning. So I think the trust and currency and equity piece is huge. I also think it gives you a reputation. You become reputable. You become known for, hey, listen, if Tim's reaching out to you, or if I introduce you to Tim, you can trust that he's for you. Listen, there are very few people as networkers, true networkers that are transactional and scarcity minded. There are very few of them that get introduced to somebody by another somebody.
Yeah.
Their thing is, I'm just going to like figure out a way to spam you.
Yeah.
Right. But what happens when you're a connector is now everybody wants to introduce you.
Yeah.
Because when you introduce a connector, you actually gain more influence as a connector. Does that make sense? I mean,
yeah. It makes me think about, you mentioned like the generosity or abundance mindset. And you think of what generosity is not, which is giving with expecting something in return, or giving because you feel like you have to.
yes.
I can't tell you how many networkers I've been introduced to because they were under an obligation to share my name.
Yeah.
And they didn't even want to. And you could tell. They're like, yeah, this person's going to be calling you. And I'm like, I didn't ask them to call me. But switch over to the connector who has a generosity mindset, and generosity is giving without expecting anything in return, and also continuously. It's not a one-time transaction. It's a partnership. It's a lifestyle.
Connectors don't keep score.
Yeah.
I'm not looking around going, well, it's 3-0 in my favor right now. So you owe me something.
Yeah.
And I mean, I learned that from John Maxwell. Like his whole thing was, and this is friendship, it's generosity, it's all these things kind of in the same channel or the same lane or the same bucket, which is if you truly have a life goal of adding value, period, to people, to organizations, to circles of influence, then you are generous by definition, but you're also you're going to have more influence because now trust is built. People want you to bring you in. They want to connect you to their friends. And I would argue again, it's one of the great marketing strategies that many people miss out on.
Yeah.
Because I know this, somebody can spam me all day and I can be aware and then never want to recommend them.
Yeah.
But man, if I trust you and I know that somebody else now needs your service, you don't think I'm going to introduce you as a connector to that person that needs that service or that, that product compared to the person that I may know about, but I don't trust.
Yeah. Yeah. That's huge, man. And I hope for people listening, if you're on the audio channels or watching here on YouTube, there's a lot of stuff that gets said online and on podcasts and stuff like that. A couple caveats. One, Brad's not here because I owe him anything or he owes me anything. We're here because we're friends. And also, too, like, Brad, you're like one of my role models in this area, because everything, for the listener, everything Brad is talking about is something he lives out, and I can attest to that. I was on a phone call yesterday with a guy named Peter. How do I know Peter? I know Peter because of Brad. If you look at probably half of my podcast guests from the last 2 years, Jessica because of Brad, Justin because of Brad, there's another John because of Brad. Only people with J's, I guess, is all that we share. But that's because that's who you are, and I love that about you, and that's why I love being able to connect with you, is because that challenges me. It rubs off on me and reminds me, because the networker mindset, there's pressure there. There's like a weight, and the connector mindset, that's released.
It's freeing.
Yeah.
And here's also something, Tim, I think that's helpful for people. I'm wired for this. It's my superpower.
Yeah.
So I don't expect everybody in the world to have the same affinity nor the same passion for their abilities and or their sense of motivation to be a connector. Comma. However, everybody is responsible with the influence they've been given and the circle they have to do this well. So my connection powers are national and international. And because again, that's just the season that God's given me to steward.
Yeah.
But this happens locally. It happens with your friends. It happens with your neighbors. It happens in your small town community.
Yeah.
It happens among your, the parents who you're coaching the soccer team with. So it's a life skill that I know that not everybody's going to be so excited and want to talk about it. At the same time, I do think it's part of our stewardship of just good leadership in general.
Yeah. Yep. Maybe you can't answer this being wired for this. Sometimes when you're really good at something, it's hard to, hey,
you don't even know. Yeah.
Yeah. What's like a first step or a next step for somebody being like, hey, I love what you're saying, Brad. I've networked my whole life and there's nothing wrong with it, but how do I shift from the networking mindset to the connector mindset?
It's a great question. So your posture needs to change to, again, let's think about a conversation with somebody. I just had a conversation before you and I jumped on with a guy that's very influential. As a connector, I spent 40 minutes of the 45-minute call asking him questions, pulling the gold out of him, trying to add value to him. And he kept saying, Brad, like, I want to hear about you. And I would just return the volley. No, I got another question for you. Now, I know how to do that well. Like I've learned how to do this.
Yeah.
But to me, that's a practical step, which is even on a conversation or a phone call, in person, at a lunch, a breakfast, when you're at an event with a bunch of local community leaders, your job is to now get really curious and be the person that is walking around trying to, again, both be curious about people. Hey, tell me more about you, as well as figure out ways to add value to people as well as pull gold out of people. Those are three different things. Those are three different skills. Curiosity is you're a good question asker. Adding value means that you're an encourager, and pulling gold out of people is that you actually understand you've done enough due diligence and you have wisdom that now you're able to say something about them that's true.
Yeah.
And if you just do that, you're automatically like winning and adding value, and you're truly a connector. Now, the other side of this would be, again, if you're in sales, which we all are, by the way, anybody's in sales, because you're all trying to persuade somebody, is take the long game approach. And I mean, practically, I don't try to soft sell. I'm very truthful and honest and authentic and transparent with people. But what I am trying to make sure I always help them understand is that not that I don't need something from you, but my goal here is to add more value than I receive. And it's actually one of those things that counterintuitively makes you somebody that people want to buy from.
Yeah.
So the practical side of that, again, is just in your mind, take the long approach. And what you don't want to do is you don't want to become the aw shucks guy who can never close.
Yeah.
Because that's annoying. When somebody's basically saying, I would like to buy this from you. I want to be in your thing. I want to be in your cohort. I want to come to your thing. Okay, great. Like we'll figure that out. Now, how else can I help you?
Yeah.
How else can I add value to you today? What else can I do to serve you? And so I'm not less motivated to make the sale. I'm just more motivated to become a friend. And again, the more you do this, the harder it gets, because now you got a bigger circle of friends.
Yeah.
But now we're nerding out for a second, so just hang with me.
Yeah, come on.
The asset I trade, the greatest asset I trade is a large circle of people. That is my resource in many ways. If you look at stewardship and what am I stewarding well, what's the asset I have? One of the assets I have is hopefully thousands of people that trust me.
Yeah.
Right. But that's harder when it's more people. It's easy when it's 7. Right.
Yeah.
Cause I can figure out how to do that. Like that's an easy spider web to build.
Yeah.
But man, if you got hundreds, it's harder to do that. And even, John Ruhlin, I mean, our good friend who passed away, like his book Giftology, that the premise that the greatest way to have customer engagement and service and satisfaction is to just be generous with people, just add value to them. Be aware of the things that are personal to them. I'll stop there.
Yeah, that's awesome. Where, you were wired for this. That was a great way to give some next steps, pulling gold from people, adding value, a posture of curiosity. Where did you learn, like who modeled this for you along the way? Like who, I'm learning from you, who are you learning from? Who have you learned from where you were like, oh man, I saw them do this? Give us a couple of those examples.
Yeah. I don't know if I had great mentors or people when I was growing up, other than my parents. Peb Jackson was probably the greatest illustration of this.
Yeah.
And, Peb was for almost 25 years, really was an unofficial and official mentor, especially in this world. And, he probably raised more dollars as a development expert, a development, executive in the Christian nonprofit space.
Yeah.
For so many different organizations, but he had so many friends across so many channels and so many spaces. I just learned that part of it is part of being a connector is that I've become an expert in what the other person's an expert in. Or let me say it differently. I become a student of what the other person is interested in.
Yeah.
And, I remember a couple of times when I was with him and we were going to meet somebody, and I don't even remember what the specific industry this person was in, but it was such a like nerdy, I would have never been interested in it.
Mm-hmm.
And Peb he's basically telling me, hey, like part of my job is to show up and be aware enough that I can volley back and forth with this person around the things that they care about. Because most of the time what we do is we show up and we talk about the things we care about.
Yeah.
But the great connectors they're able to volley back and forth around the things that somebody else cares about. And this is why being a student your whole life as a learner is so important, because I want to be able to meet anybody anytime.
Yeah.
And be able to at least carry on a somewhat compelling conversation with them. And that's the thing that I watch Peb do so well, is anybody from the highest levels of government, captains of industry, down to a high school student or a middle school student, put him in any environment and he's able to like hit the ball back across the net. And so that for me was one of the best examples for sure.
That's awesome. Where have you seen, as you think back over like your resume, your career, where have you seen the power of connection in different environments? Because you've been in a few different arenas, from riding horses for a living.
Hello.
To
scooping. I was really scooping poop for a living, not necessarily. I got to ride horses as an extra, but I was scooping a lot of poop.
Yes, and watching Three Amigos at night.
Watching Three Amigos, yes. You've been there. You know the place we speak of.
I know the place. I know the movie well. Just introduced my kids to it. Gosh, yeah.
That should be a requirement of every parent, is to have to watch Three Amigos with their kids.
I see. I waited too long with the older ones. The 17-year-old was like,
yeah, I'm
2 stars.
Sure. Yeah, 2 stars. Yeah,
like, Dad, that was dumb. I'm like, It is dumb.
It is dumb.
But that's what makes
the whole
it great.
point. Yes.
And then she was like, "Can we watch Dumb and Dumber?" I was like, "Oh, okay,
all right. Okay." Speaking
We're
of
moving.
dumb,
yeah. So as you look back through your resume, your career, where have you seen the power of connection in different environments? Like payoff.
Listen, I mean, the fertile soil was for sure at Lost Valley. What you're talking about, just during college and just out of college, and my ability to serve in a role as a head wrangler at this guest ranch.
Yeah.
The whole point of guests coming there is to have an incredible experience with their family. Okay. Part of that is riding horses, and experiencing a Western ranch vacation.
Yeah.
But man, the next level of hospitality was for me, this knucklehead who barely knew enough to be in charge, was like a substitute teacher, just barely ahead of the students, in calculus. I'm reading the Wrangler for Dummies book. But I knew that if I got, let's say a father who's 45, who runs a $20 billion company, and he's got his family there, and my ability to now, again, volley in the conversation. He's expecting this 23-year-old head wrangler to not know anything about anything.
Yeah.
Other than horses and, oh, great, we're going to be on this 2-hour horseback ride, and I'm going to have to talk to this 23-year-old head wrangler about stuff I don't know.
Yeah.
And man, I'm turning the tables. So, Rick's behind me, and Rick runs a $20 billion company. I'm like, Rick, so, hey, we love hearing everybody's story here at Lost Valley. So tell me a little bit about yours. And then I'm just following the breadcrumbs.
Yeah.
And then he says, well, I run this company, and you probably don't understand, but we work in the exchange industry. And now my job is to surprise Rick with my awareness of his industry.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so I was reading the other day at Fortune, you had that meeting with the other guy, and you guys are, it sounds like an acquisition is going to happen. And he's looking at me going, who are you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So it was a fertile learning environment for me to figure out, how do I actually get these guests, not just that I can have a conversation with them, But what I'm trying to move them towards, Tim, like I am still to this day 30 years ago. 30 years now removed from Lost Valley. So I'm trying to move people towards a clarity moment, a spiritual encounter, you might call it, a memory, a mile marker on their journey. I'm trying to help them navigate something that's hard. Now, I didn't have at 23 the ability to help Rick navigate life.
Yeah.
But I was trying to still think, how do I make his experience here at this guest ranch next level, where he says, not only like this was an amazing week, but we're coming back forever.
Yeah.
And by the way, I want to hire you, Brad. And I don't even know what you do. Right. I got so many job offers just because I was trying to live this thing out.
Yeah.
And so many of us miss out. We miss out on because what most wranglers who ever came through Lost Valley were thinking was, my job on this ride is to make sure people are safe, which, yes. And I hope that some of these guests actually ask me about being a wrangler here and what I'm doing in life. And I can talk about my major and where I grew up. And that's okay.
Yeah.
That's like level 2 influence. But man, level 10 influence is now my ability to do what we just talked about. And this continues through life. Like, so many people are so content just to talk about themselves. And that's okay.
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing, but it's not the best thing.
Yeah. Probably not inviting you over again, but
exactly.
That's
Terry Newhoff, he's said this many times in his podcast, how surprised he is by the number of dinner parties, couple nights out, anywhere where there's other people, that nobody ever asked him a question anymore.
Yeah.
We've lost the art. We've all lost the art of really good question asking and engagement. We're so consumed with like talking about ourselves. So it's always going to make people feel more connected to you if you actually, again, you are intentional about pulling gold out of them.
Yeah. That's so good. Yeah. It reminds me, there's that it's an old management book. It's called The Humble Inquiry. I think it's Edgar Schein. It's super small. So for anybody who loves small books like I do, and it is that. It's just teaching you how to ask good questions. I think I made my teenager read it when she was like 13. I was like, this is good. She's like, Dad, it was a little corporate, but yeah, I get it.
Tell me more. One of the best questions to ask is tell me more, or say more, or keep going.
Yeah.
That doesn't take any insight.
Yes. Yeah.
Because what you're trying to do is get to the next level with people. Right. And if you allow them to keep talking, many times they will take you where you want them to go.
Yeah. Yeah. And somebody else said that, like, and what else is another good
what else?
question. Yeah. Brad, as you think back through your career and your resume, has there ever, shifting gears just a little bit, has there ever been a time where you had to like retool like what work looked like for you? Meaning like, I've been doing this thing for 10 years and it's time to transition to something else. But you and I were talking about this the other day, like, is it burnout? Is it exhaustion? Is it just being tired? You were maybe doing things outside of your skill set and needed to kind of retool things.
Well, every season for me has been pretty much walking into something I knew nothing about, and then just having to wing it and figure it out.
Okay.
Again, the dummy book. I wish I'd have had the dummy book for all these seasons.
Yeah.
I would say that the transition out of Catalyst, which I write about in H3 Leadership.
Yeah.
That season, both because I was having to navigate calling an assignment. I was a little dysfunctional. In fact, some of the team would have said you were quite dysfunctional. It was turning 40. There was a lot of things that were happening at the same time.
Yeah.
And I thought that was kind of the next 20 years. And it ended up being, more of a decade season of assignment. So that was a challenge. Not necessarily like moving into a new season and becoming more of a consultant, advisor, having a lot of different organizations I was involved in and helping, not just one, going from one paycheck to now I've got multiple streams of revenue. All those things are challenging. You have to learn how to lead yourself. Being an entrepreneur, as you know, is way different than being a part of an organization.
Yeah.
And so those were all really challenging. I think the thing that, though, was probably the most revealing was, again, just getting clarity on I got to be aware and also comfortable with that this wasn't my calling. It was my assignment. Because if it was my calling and it stopped, then I've got a crisis.
Yeah.
But because it was an assignment, I'm going to have multiple more assignments.
Yeah.
That should reflect my calling, which gives evidence, and I would say it helps clarify and make my identity come alive. And man, if we don't wrestle that to the ground, so many of us we transition out of something where we've incorrectly put it in the calling bucket, and now we're just really frustrated. We have to. So that's been a clarifying thing. It's probably the most helpful thing that when I talk to people who are navigating a transition, that is most helpful, which is, oh, wait, you're right. This isn't my purpose in life. And it's okay if I stop doing this and do something else.
Yeah. Can you delineate those two for a second? Like I'm in second grade?
No, for sure. I mean, it's calling, I would say, think of calling as the river and river banks. Okay. So you've got a wide river that's flowing. You've got river banks on each side. Assignment is the speedboat, aircraft carrier, the inner tube, the whatever different ship you're going down the river on. And you can have multiple seasons of being on different ships as you go down the river, or different crafts as you go down the river. So the calling it's wide enough, but it's still flowing in a certain direction.
Yeah.
That now it's directional, and it gives you a sense of purpose in your life. And what we are talking about, Tim, because this is important too, for anybody who has faith, a Christian leader, let's say, what we tend to confuse is we say, well, Brad, isn't like my calling to know God, know God and enjoy him forever. Know God and make him known. Love God and enjoy him forever. Yes. But that's true for me too. I would call that a spiritual calling. So what we are talking about here is more vocational expression. So it's the outlet of the gifts and wirings, passions, the things that God has truly like put into me. And so it doesn't always show up as a job, but most of the time it does.
Yeah.
Because but you're going to have different seasons. And the clarity on this is so important because, again, those who are younger than me and you, those in their 20s right now, they're going to have 15, 20, 25 different seasons of assignment, potentially, over the course of their career. That is really confusing if you don't wrestle and get clarity on calling.
Yeah.
Because you better make sure your riverbanks and your river are clear, because you're going to, by the end of your 20s, you might have 6 jobs. And I don't like people are jumpers, but I also know that it's just more reality than it's ever been.
Yeah.
And so what I'm trying to do, again, is give people clarity to say, well, I understand you were a barista, and then you worked in the warehouse at that place, and then you jumped into a sales role, and then your cousin decided to start a company, and now you're the VP of human resources. We got to figure out what the through line is, though. And through lines only tend to become clear when we reverse engineer them. The fact that I'm trying to help some 18-year-old figure out what their major is going to be, that's a really challenging proposition. And I don't think it's not possible, but it's way better to say, now that you've had 12 different seasons of experience over the last 12 years from 18 to 30.
Yeah.
Let's unpack that and let's see like what the through line is.
So you would say one of the ways to find that through line is look in the rearview mirror and go, hey, what are some of the, are you looking for patterns as you do that? What does that look like?
Yes. Yeah. You're looking for patterns. You're looking for confirmation. Look in your childhood. Childhood will always reveal the intrinsic wirings you have without any pressure, any parental, extra pressure on you.
Yeah.
It doesn't have anything to do with money or compensation when you're a kid. It's more
Yeah.
like, what do you just love?
Yeah.
Right. So some of us were the kids on the playground who were the ones managing or organizing and managing recess.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And you're like, why is Tim in second grade now like recess guy?
Yeah.
Your parents didn't tell you, okay, you need to be recess guy to have influence in second grade and get the best grade.
Yeah.
But
I wanted that game of kickball that I could remember forever. And I wanted certain people on my team and I wanted it to be close, and so that was important.
Yeah. Then you look at the way you had friendships when you're a kid, the things you were naturally gravitationally pulled towards. So that's always a good indicator. The other thing is now you start to ask people around you, hey, what is it about me that's true that I don't even know is true? You said it earlier, like my superpower is connection. I thought everybody else was that same way.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
They're like, no, you're a nerd, man. When it comes, you got all these spreadsheets, of people and you're keeping track of everybody and you got them like, so that's an intrinsic wire. And, real quick, to me, the 4 quadrant, helpful. I don't know if it's not a Venn diagram. Let's just call it Foursquare.
Yeah.
It's
a matrix.
There we go. Matrix.
Yeah.
Let's say top left is wiring. So that's the things God put in you. It's intrinsic. You're good at math. You have an ability to understand stuff. You're a good writer. You enjoy making sure people connect. That's wiring.
Yeah.
Passion is, quadrant 2. Those are the things that you love, like that make you cry, they make you emotional. A lot of times this is because of pain in your life, or it's because of experiences in your life. You grew up without a father, like you were abused. Those are things in your life that give you purpose because of pain.
Yeah.
And now you have passion for it. You love kids. You have a heartbeat for missions. Those are passion things.
Yeah.
Quadrant 3 is, let's call it God's story. So this one's a little bit harder to figure out, but I would say again, based on the season of life you're in, what is true for you right now? And that could be both God's story as well as, hey, I just got married. We don't have any money. I got to have a job, right? I mean, that's just a season of life. And then the 4th, which is connected, is sustainability. What can I do to actually create an income? And again, we're talking about vocational expression primarily here. So if you take those 4 quadrants and you start navigating, okay, what am I really wired to do? What do I love? What seems to be God's story in my life right now? And then what can I do that actually creates income or revenue, creates sustainability?
Yeah.
I think those 4 quadrants are really helpful as you start navigating direction. And direction for me is, my calling statement is connect, gather, and influence influencers. That's connect, gather, and influence influencers. Now, it took me a long time to get it to that place where it was really concise. Now, I also have a comma in there, which I don't talk about with Tony in 2A next to me on the Delta flight, who's 3 gin and tonics in. Tony, he's like, what do you do? Well, I connect leaders. That's cool. What does that mean? But my comma is, in order to create kingdom catalysts who will impact and change the world. So that for me is that's my ultimate why. I'm trying to connect, gather, and influence leaders in order to create kingdom catalysts, those who I consider to be the followers of Jesus that are out there changing the world, impacting and changing the world. That's my statement. It's clear from me. Now, what it doesn't say is what I'm supposed to necessarily do in this season of assignment.
Yeah.
So I can be an author. I can be a speaker. I can gather leaders. I can put on events.
Yeah.
I can be I can help manage talent. There's a lot of things that can be an assignment for me that still reflect appropriately that statement on my life.
Yeah. Yeah. You could,
so that's clarity from.
Yeah. You could jump in the kayak. You could get the Huck Finn
Exactly.
raft down the river.
The wooden raft.
Yes. It's just tied together with rope, and but it doesn't matter what the vehicle is. You know what the river looks like, and you know where it's going.
Yes. And then the identity piece, ultimately then, as a follower of Jesus, for many people as a husband, a father, a mother, as obviously son and daughter, we all are. You have core values that make up who you are.
Yeah.
You have a faith. Those are all identity pieces that are, for the most part, unchanging.
Yeah.
And as long as we're clear, again, whether you want to put them in a hierarchical flow or you want to put them in a cross-functional flow, I don't care. I'm just trying to help people clarity.
Yeah.
Because so many people are confused or they just don't know.
Yeah.
They're like, Brad, I guess I just need a paycheck. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's start there.
Yeah.
If that's where we're starting, great. Now let's look for more clarity. What we can't do though, is we can't settle for unclarity or a lack of clarity. That is the definition to me of why we burn out, why we get depressed, why we're anxious.
Yeah. Is
we don't have clarity.
Yeah. That's really good. That's really good. I'm even thinking of myself personally right now, only because being in a new season over the last year, we've 10 people at Streamline and have just instituted the first level of, call it middle management, and the first other layer of people leading people who aren't me. And so while I had super clarity around that needs to happen, let me just ask you this. This is you strategically advise CEOs, executives, lots of leaders who are global influentially. How do you go about getting that clarity about okay, now that I've done that and created space and margin, what do I head towards next? What would you recommend? And this is live advice right now.
Yes. So are you meaning, how do I keep going from strength to strength?
Yeah.
When I might work myself out of a job description?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. The answer is yes. That's what you're supposed to do as a leader.
Yeah.
You need to keep moving towards the season that only you can do, the role that only you can be in. And that's not an exclusive statement or an arrogant statement. It's a clarity statement. You also, you keep working yourself out of a job.
Yeah.
Now, what's not true is that you're working yourself out of a job.
Yeah.
Because the best leaders in the world, the highest level goats, they have continued to go, whether you want to call it up the ladder or, up the staircase, to the point where people start looking at them and going, I'm not even sure what you do anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's part of the reality that says I'm doing the homework consistently to make sure that I'm being congruent to the season I'm in. What happens so many times for leaders is that we end up squatting.
Yeah.
We squat on a role.
Yeah.
And you can define squatting however you want to, whether you're pooping or whether you're just hanging out, taking up space. It's the idea that I'm going to go to the top of Mount Everest and nobody else can come up there because I'm the only one that can now see the view.
Yeah. And kind of coast, right? I was
going
to ask about that. You could get there and be like, this is easy. And I think I have a big fear around that of you work yourself out of a job and, oh gosh, what if I start coasting? I don't think that's going to happen, but you see it happen.
Well, the people who are more concerned about it, will never happen because they're concerned about it.
Yeah.
The people that it ends up happening to are the ones that are content with it.
Yeah.
Now, again, is that a sin issue? Oh, is it a fireable offense? No. Does it happen all the time? Yes.
Yeah.
Organizations are filled with people who are just squatting on a position because it's easy.
Yeah.
And now again, where I get in trouble is people will say, well, Brad, like I have other things in my life that I care more about. Okay. Let's talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
So what you're saying is you have other things in your life that you are more passionate about other than the current role you have that you get compensated for. Yes. Yes. I am not that passionate about, being 43 and the VP of integrated services at this manufacturing company. Okay. That's okay, by the way. Now let's start getting clear on, well, how do we start to have a conversation to move you towards something that you would go, okay, I could wake up and like get really excited about that.
Yeah.
That's a little bit different though than also the question of, well, I love what I do.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a bit concerned that if I keep hiring people to replace me, that I will remove myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think that is a short-sighted, although feels realistic.
Yeah.
If you have that type of ambition, you're always going to find yourself in a role. You won't let yourself settle.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm more concerned about the person who says, I don't really care.
Yeah.
And I'm just taking up a seat here.
Yeah.
And I'm just getting a paycheck, and it's a nice paycheck. And listen, if we go back to those 4 quadrants,
mm-hmm.
what you have in that situation is you have, I don't know if you probably have some wiring that's helping you do that job.
Mm.
You have probably zero passion, the second quadrant.
Mm-hmm.
The God story piece is probably off a bit.
Yeah, not there.
Sustainability though, okay. Like I'm making good money. We got a nice house. I got 4 car payments. So you're getting 2 out of the 4 of the quadrants somewhat right.
Yeah.
What happens with a lot of ministry leaders, this, pastors or those in the nonprofit space, which ones of the quadrants do they get right? Well, they usually have a wiring around
story and passion.
Story and passion, baby.
Yeah, yeah.
Like they make no money. They may not even be good at it. So
yeah,
we're dealing with many times a lack of that. I'm hitting 4 out of 4 on the quadrants.
Yeah. And
that comes back to clarity. It comes back to let's do the hard work of making sure that you're aware of where you are. And again, like for me, the season when I stepped out of Catalyst, that was the ultimate top of Mount Everest in the Christian leadership conference space.
Yeah.
I was at my prime, man. I was 40. This is a sweet job.
Yeah.
I love it. I'm still really passionate about it. I'm really good at it. But I felt like God's story on my life was moving me to a new season. And it was hard. But part of it was I needed to get out of the way to let somebody else do it. Yeah. But also there was only some things that I could do based on the season I was in. And looking back, I'm so glad that was true. And I had people that helped me get clarity around that.
Yeah. Because
I wouldn't necessarily have jumped to that next thing. I would have said, I'm not squatting on this, but I'm really good at it. And so again, like, how do we figure those things out in life? Those are the harder decisions we have to wrestle with. And they're, it's like level 6 type of leadership kind of stuff to navigate.
Yeah. Oh man, Brad, this is so good. I feel like my brain is filling up right now. Also I've got a drawing of the Matrix right here. Oh, it's not going to focus, but there it is.
Yeah. I need some kind of illustration of that for my slide deck.
Yeah. I'll text you a picture of it. You just use it.
I need a good designer to come up with it. Anybody who's listening or watching, if you're a good designer, hit me
there
on one of the outlets.
Yeah. I love that. Brad, I feel like throughout this conversation, there's been so many stories that are like these mini films. Like I can picture Tony in 2A next to you.
Tony. He's like, you're having Diet Coke over there? Like, Tony, easy, buddy. We haven't even left the gate yet, man.
Yeah, right. You're like, I'm hitting all 4 quadrants of the matrix.
Oh yeah,
I
he's
have a
also
feeling.
Tony's also on the phone, and he talks really loud, and he's the more gin and tonics, the louder he gets.
My goodness, I love that, man.
Yeah.
Hey, one of the things that you do really well is, as you talked about, like influencing leaders, and you coach a lot of executives, CEOs. You're strategic advisor to organizations that are trying to scale. What is something right now that you see leaders struggling with? Like, is there a pattern in society today that you're like, man, not every single one, but man, there's a lot of leaders I talk to and they're struggling with X. What is that? What are you doing to help them address that?
Great question. By the way, you're a really good question asker.
Oh, thanks, man.
No, seriously, like you have the posture and the vibe that you've been doing this, Tim, for like 200 episodes. So you may have found your sweet spot, buddy. You're going to be on.
There we go.
You're going to be on, CNBC. It's going to be the new power lunch.
I hope not.
With Tim Eisenhower.
I hope not.
Yeah. Hey, let's speak that into existence, buddy.
All right. Yeah.
Brought to you by Streamline on CNBC.
Yes. There we go. Love it.
So it's a great question. I would say a couple of things. One, the talent question, both in terms of identifying, recruiting, onboarding, developing, retaining talent. All those, there's probably more verbs there, but the talent fight or the talent contest or the talent, land grab.
Yeah.
And a lot of leaders they're stuck in between 2 generations of both. How do I recruit?
Yeah.
How do I find talent? Do I expect talent? Do I expect the best people? The young whippersnapper who's 25, who is a stud or studette. Should I expect them to be 25 years in my company? Right?
Yeah.
Well, no. First of all, no. I mean, and that doesn't make them disloyal.
Yeah.
It just makes them self-aware that they have options. So that is a massive one that I see a lot of tension there, and a lot of healthy tension, I think.
Yeah.
Of both, how do I find them? How do I keep them? How do I keep them around? How do I develop them? And a couple of practical things on that is, well, if you're a leader who's a bit more old school, you're gonna have to fight to give them more responsibility, more authority, more things to carry and to manage than you think you should.
Got it.
The best way to keep them around is to pile on them.
Yeah.
Even though you go, there's no way they can't handle that. Well, they think they can.
Yeah.
The other thing is you have to give them a path or a picture of what it looks like for them to sit in your seat or whatever seat they want to sit in.
Yeah.
In the old days was, listen, Skippy, just be happy you have a job.
Yeah. Doesn't work anymore.
Doesn't work anymore. So I mean, even the intern is looking at me going, okay, Brad, okay, Tim, like I just got here 7 days ago.
Yeah.
I'm an intern, but I need a path of development that's going to put me in the seat of power within 7 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. How do I get equity in this company?
Yeah. How do I get equity? Or when's my sabbatical?
Yeah.
And again, listen, that annoys me just as much as it annoys some 65-year-old.
Yeah.
Or 75-year-old or 35-year-old. But I have to look at them and go, well, I understand why you're asking.
Yeah.
Because now it's kind of the rules of engagement. And it doesn't mean you're trying to usurp my authority, or it's not like you're trying to prove you're a rebel. So now if somebody is, then they're not the right fit here.
Yeah.
So that's one. The other one would be, okay, well, how do I appropriately, again, both figure out, it's what you said earlier, figure out my timeline here, as well as make sure that I'm clear on what it is I've been purposed to do in life.
Yeah.
So it goes back to that sense of calling. And just because you're in charge doesn't mean you're clear.
Right.
You might just be in charge because you were there longest.
Mm.
You just like hung around long enough where everybody else left.
Yeah.
It's like, well, I guess Cindy's in charge because she's the only one that knows where the bodies are buried.
Yeah.
Right. So as a leader, and here's the thing, like, it's harder for you when you're CEO to be vulnerable and transparent.
Yeah.
To think that you have to do that work on yourself.
Yeah.
Like you feel like you should have done it earlier.
Yeah.
In your career. So,
yeah.
And that goes back to the posture of, I will follow a leader. I will more often follow a leader that is authentic and says, hey, I'm still wrestling with this, compared to the one who acts like they know.
Yeah.
And we all sit around and go, they have no idea.
Yeah.
So, and that's an old school, new school tension for a lot of leaders. You see it. I mean, I think you and I both are sports nerds. You see this manifested and really clear with teams and with coaches today.
Yeah.
I think sports many times is a microcosm of culture in terms of like what's happening and how are coaches coaching young leaders today.
Yeah.
So that's a real indicator for me that a lot of old school coaches are retiring or getting out because they look around and go, I don't understand it anymore. And then you say, well, who does?
Yeah.
Who does understand it? Well, it's the younger coaches who, and I don't think they're holding players to less accountability. I think they're just doing it different.
Yeah. Yeah. You got players coming in going, hey, I'm here to build my personal brand. And the coach is like, oh, this is a team brand that we're building here. How do we mesh those two together and leverage the personal brand for the sake of the team, leverage the team for the sake of the personal brand? They can coexist.
Yes. And I am not saying that the new rules of engagement are the right rules.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that NIL and transfer portal and, players getting paid, or that I'm building my personal brand and now it's a player driven industry.
Yeah.
I'm not saying any of that's correct.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's the new reality.
Yeah. Great leaders define reality. Yep. It's so good. Brad, I want to end this way. And first of all, gosh, thank you.
You're welcome.
This has been incredible.
Hopefully we at least helped one leader.
Yeah.
If we did that, it's worth the time.
It's worth it for sure. Well, you helped me already, so we're done.
That's
done.
it. We're good.
Done.
Who cares if anybody else got it?
I don't care if you listen. Mom, if you're still listening, thank you.
By the way, that's the beauty of podcast, is you and I both know when we interview people that are helping others, they're helping us.
Yes.
It's free consulting.
Dude.
It's fabulous.
So good. So good. I already said the one thing, but I want to repeat it for anybody listening. Like, Brad lives what he's talking about. So this isn't just like talk. We didn't have a dozen talking points going into this. I'm learning from a mentor, from a friend, and hopefully you did too. That's the goal. Again, if we can move your life 1% in a better direction towards that calling, towards the river that you're supposed to be swimming in. Maybe you're just swimming. Maybe you have no boat.
Yeah, you might be going down with no raft.
Yeah.
Which is fun. That's fun unless there's rapids.
Yeah.
It's all fun and games till you hit the waterfall on the Zambezi River in South Africa.
Oh my gosh. So good. So Brad, I love this question. What is one thing you're loving right now? This could be a product, could be a person, could be an experience, but just one thing you're loving right now, enjoying in life. Like, I know I struggle with like gratitude sometimes and joy. And it's like, man, I sat down today and opened my journal and I wrote 8 like huge wins from the week. And I was like, oh yeah, they're there. So just, what's one thing bringing you joy right now?
Yeah. Well, I'll give you some practical ones that I think people can hopefully copy and paste. The YouVersion Bible. I love that thing.
Yeah.
Bobby Grunwald and team have created such an incredible, and by the way, they're about to hit 1 billion downloads. That's 1 billion people around the world
that's crazy.
Yeah. That have the Bible app on their phone.
Yeah.
And there's so many reading plans and there's so many ways to engage scripture.
Yeah.
through a lot of different technologies, but that's one for me.
Yeah.
I'm loving the Acquired podcast.
What's
I don't know if
that?
you've run across that one. It's just
Mm-mm.
called Acquired. It's the number one tech podcast, or it's up there pretty high on the charts.
Okay.
I don't really know about it, but a friend told me about it, and it's the deep dive into the stories of these companies. I mean, like 3 hour long, and it's not interviews. It's two guys that are basically doing all this research, and then they're retelling the story of Walmart or Costco or Starbucks or the NFL. Like the most recent one I listened to was 3 hours on the history of the NFL. And
Wow.
anyway, that's one for me that I'm a podcast junkie. So I listen to a lot of different podcasts because I run/walk. And so that would be another one for everybody. Like, what am I into? I mean, I've been into walking and running for 10 years now, because Fat Brad was, somebody that we never want to return, or Chubby, depending on the season. Chubby Brad, Fat Brad, out of shape Brad. But yeah, that walking is such a great exercise, but also, maybe you can implement this, friends, is all those Zoom calls or the, phone calls. Why aren't you walking?
Yeah.
Who cares if it's windy? Just tell everybody, hey, it's windy and I'm walking. So, by the way, we don't need to do Zoom calls anymore. We know what each other look like.
Yeah. Yeah.
So unless you got a report or something I need to look at,
Yeah.
I'm fine to be on Zoom, but I'm going to turn my video off and then I'm going to go outside and walk while we're on the call. And
I'm pretty
get
sure
a lot of steps in.
Our first call, you were on the treadmill. Like, I feel like I heard like a
guaranteed I was on the treadmill.
Yeah.
So now, depending on where you live, whether you're inside or outside.
Yeah.
I think for me, it's a habit stack. First of all, I can, listening to podcasts, walking, I'm able to do a couple things at once.
Yeah.
But also it makes you more creative.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying more and more to spend most of my day moving.
Yeah.
Compared to being stationary.
Yeah. Have you done like the weighted vest yet, or gotten into that?
No, the rucksack.
Yeah.
No, I got some friends who are totally into it. I mean, first of all, a $250 rucksack vest at Dick's Sporting Goods is a waste of money.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can give you 7 rocks and you can put them in your that old winter jacket you don't wear anymore.
Well, the problem is you go to do like a push-up in that or a burpee, and all of a sudden, like I had a buddy.
Oh, yeah, it hits you in the head.
Yeah, it like hits you in the head or the face. So.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
There is some value to something that's a bit more manufactured for the exercise itself. But
yeah.
I'm okay just right now, just doing it without any extra poundage.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Those are great. And also podcast recommendations. If you're a podcast junkie, that means those recommendations are pretty good. So
I listen to a lot of podcasts, and I can give you some other ones if you're interested. But that one for me is most recently the one that probably getting the most listens as a recent find.
Yeah. Yeah. You shared with me a while back the Carey Nieuwhof interviewing Scott Galloway.
Yes.
That particular episode, talking about just the crisis of young men in America, and that topic keeps coming up. But I felt like that episode was on the forefront of that whole discussion. That was a great one.
Well, and that's why that's why you and I have to fight for friendship.
Yeah.
Like we have to be intentional with the gatherings and creating community, and literally, like, those of us who have more influence have to be the ones pulling other people in.
Yeah.
And saying, I don't care if you don't think you need it. You need it.
Yeah.
Because we're all lonely.
Mm-hmm.
Every single one of us in some form or fashion, because that's just the new reality of the world we live in.
Yeah. That's so good. My one thing I'm loving right now is we just got new patio furniture, which sounds silly. But it's like 2 couches and 2 chairs. We have 6 people in our family, so it fits everybody. And there's this propane fire table in the middle of it. And so all of a sudden it's like we went from like in front of the screen to now we're in front of the fire and we're looking at each other, and we can stay out there for hours in the summer. And that's just been That's been incredible just to hear about people's day. There's something about fire, I feel like, that
Yes.
all of a sudden I'm relaxed. I feel safe. I feel creative. I feel known, and I'm with the people I care about the most. And that's just been really cool.
I love that. By the way, we could nerd out for a second on the power of fire as a spiritual ingredient for community. I think there was very much intentionality around God creating a pillar of fire by night, cloud by day. And so it is a gathering mechanism. It's also very useful.
Yeah.
But there's a reason we like standing around the fire.
Yeah, absolutely. That's so good. Brad, lastly, I know you're not a person. I know this about you. You're not a person to be like, hey, go to bradlomenick.com and check it out. Which, by the way, it says, check out the new book, H3 Leadership.
7 years ago.
Yeah. Where can, if people are looking to grow in their leadership, you have a ton of stuff. You've got the H3 Leadership podcast. You have the book. Where can people learn about that stuff? Like, where would they go?
Yeah, h3leadership.com.
Okay.
Probably the best place. You can go to bradlomenick.com, but it's lame. I haven't updated that website in like 10 years. Truly. I needed that same designer that's going to help me do the 4 diagram thing.
Yeah, there we go.
Update my website.
Reach out.
The podcast. I think the podcast, one, because you're already a podcast listener.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the best place to start with. And it's,
It's so good. It's so good. Yeah. You guys got to check it out. That'll all be in the show notes or whatever you call it down below.
Show notes, baby. Let's go. Let's get those show notes going.
Yes.
Who's our sponsor on this episode, by the way? Do we have a sponsor on this episode?
I think it's the H3 Leadership Podcast.
Let's go, man.
Yeah.
H3 Leadership.
Yeah.
Humble, hungry, hustle.
Yeah. So good. So, Brad, thanks so much. Thanks so much for just getting the chance to record a conversation, share so much about leadership, about connection, and about calling. I think any leader listening is going to get a ton out of it. And if they don't, they can just go to the H3 Leadership Podcast and listen there.
That's right.
So there we go.
Last thing is, as a connector, because everybody is now. Right now, as you're listening, who's one person you need to reach out to? It's a really good practical thing. Like one person that you're going to text, call maybe.
Yeah.
You're gonna bridge that gap. You're gonna decrease the distance. So do that right now, and it could just be thinking about you. Doesn't have to be something monumental.
Yeah, I love it. That's great. Awesome, man. Thank you.
You're the best.
Hey there. If this episode impacted you, would you share it with a friend right now? That would mean a lot to me, and even better if you could leave a review of the show. Maybe mention what part of this conversation stuck with you. On the first Tuesday of each month, we're going to bring you some more stories of great leaders who have learned what it means to be truly wealthy. If you're watching on YouTube, we're going to drop that on the first Thursday of each month. So keep an eye on that. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time.